Hey everybody, what's happening? It's Donovan in the Out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports Studios here. It is February 18th it's a little before 9 o'clock. Long weekend for me, so I thought I would throw out my outfielders here. I know I'm a little behind on that, so I just want to get those out for you today. You could find me personally at Spittingseeds BB on X or other social media places. You could find Out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports at Out of Rhythm Fant on other on X and other spots as well. You are free to ask for the Discord link. I believe I have mine posted in my bio on X, and I'm not sure if Jamie has a post for Out of Rhythm, but if you reach out via DM or just a message, I'd be happy to share that link so you can get it up in the Discord and get some on the minute, I guess, information. As if you want it, you could send a message out there and we'll talk whenever you want, I guess. Unless I'm sleeping, I won't be talking. So today we're going to get into the outfielders. It is I know some shows go super deep. I'm going to keep the same format, where I'm just going to kind of highlight a few. We'll talk about a bunch. Outfield is I'm not going to lead you into one over the other necessarily today, because your format really matters. If you have 3 outfielders, 4 outfielders, 5 outfielders, so on and so forth, how many utility positions you got. So there's baseball so tough. It's so hard when people ask, who would you draft in the 3rd round? A lot of people. It really depends on who you drafted in the 1st and the 2nd, and what you have the vision for the rest of your team looking like. It depends on the league, not only settings, but the rest of your league. So know your opponents type of thing. Kind of know the room and who they're going to draft. I think about my long-time keeper league. We got a draft. It'll be, I think a month from now. And there's players that I'll risk getting sniped on, because I have a pretty good feel for how different people draft. And that's something that you get to learn as you play more and more. Some of these leagues, you don't really know the players, so it makes it more difficult. But so I won't be guiding you on necessarily who to take in what round. I guess I'll give you some suggestions, but again, it really depends on your build, how it's going so far. I do know that in the 1st round, there will likely be anywhere from 5, 6 for sure. In a 12 team, you could have 8 outfielders go in the 1st round potentially. Outfield eligible, I should say. And that's outfields where if you don't get one of the top outfielders, you're going to struggle. But it's not to say that you have to take, a Fernando Tatis in the 1st round. You don't have to. You can, as long as you have a plan after that. If you took instead of taking Fernando Tatis and you took Freddie Freeman, Freddie Freeman's an excellent asset at first base. It locks that in. But know then that you need to move your priority up on outfielders after that. As opposed to taking a Julio or a Kyle Tucker in the 1st round. You can kind of let outfield slip a little bit, in my opinion. 5 outfielder league, though, you need to kind of take that into consideration, that if you don't have a few decent outfielders, it will dry up in a hurry, and you'll just be left with some meh outfielders. So let's talk about ADP. The number one overall pick, I mean, someone may have gotten cute and taken someone else. The tinfoil hat wearing, he might get injured type pick and took, Julio or Corbin or Kyle Tucker or something of that, or maybe a pitcher. But Ronald Acuna is the number one overall pick unanimously on every site, I believe. And everything I've done, I've been tracking different mocks and other things, industry ones, personal ones. I have yet to come across Ronald Acuna not being the first overall pick. So Ronald Acuna, Julio Rodriguez, Mookie Betts, Corbin Carroll, Kyle Tucker are your top five. There could be a little bit of room for discussion there already. I know if I look at my projections, and again, we'll go back to my projections right now are not fine-tuned, I guess, by games or plate appearances at the moment. I start with everybody's the same. So potential-wise, I would have Kyle Tucker third, and I think that's very realistic to be the third overall outfielder. And that would be, his full season comparatively to everybody being the same. That is not out of the question. So again, your top five was Acuna, Rodriguez, Betts, Carroll, and Tucker, followed by Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, and then Yordan Alvarez. And at 10 is Luis Robert or Robert, or however you want to say it. Fernando Tatis this year will lose his shortstop eligibility. So last year, I don't know if, I still have him as fifth in mine, in my projections. So it's all there. His tools are there. His speed is there. So, and he's, last year he put up some fairly decent numbers. So, I mean, it's all there. He should be able to perform and return that fifth outfielder type value. So I have no qualms with him being there at 6. You could take him at 5. This is a personal preference at this point. Again, there's so many of these outfielders. Think about, like Acuna, 1 overall ADP, right? Julio Rodriguez just under 3. Mookie Betts 4.5 on average. Corbin Carroll 4.75. These are all, that's top 5 picks right there. 4 of them. So you got Juan Soto after Tatis moving to New York. I'm surprised that hasn't crept up a little bit more yet. But I think you got Juan Soto and Aaron Judge going pretty much back to back in drafts, 7-8, average ADP of 10.29 and 10.79. So like, you're going to flip a coin there. I personally would take Soto over Judge. Just think, and if I can look here, I mean, that's just the build wise for me. I think Soto going to New York gives you that, a little more stability there. Handful of stolen bases. I guess Aaron Judge could have that same handful, but Aaron Judge could have, 50. He could hit 50 home runs. That's not out of the question. My projections have him quite high in the 40s. So that lineup's amazing. Both of those guys, I don't know if you can go wrong, but and then again, Juan Soto, there's a chance that going to New York, he might slip a little bit. That's a big stage. It's a different animal being in New York. We've seen players struggle with that move. So maybe I would take Aaron Judge, I guess. Personally, I don't I shy away from those Yankees players, and I've been beat by Aaron Judge, so maybe it's not sound logic, but it is what it is. Yordan Alvarez, again, just like the guy's a machine. He's down there in Houston. That lineup's amazing as well. He's not going to give you any stolen bases. He's one of the, in this top 9 outfielders here, he gives you probably 0 stolen bases. So you need to prepare for that. But you're getting him in a 15-teamer. He's probably going. I've taken him multiple times on the wheel there, and some mock drafts that I've done. It just gives you that. If you're in a batting average, he gives you that batting average, home runs. He gives you 4 solid tools. So it's a great wheel pick to pair with somebody in a 15 team. And then Robert, his numbers are there, and we just need to keep him on the field. The team, I don't know. So you have like Yordan Alvarez going at the 9th as the 9th outfielder at pick, 16, we'll say. And then you have Robert going pick 31 as the 10th outfielder. So there's going to be a little reprieve there. You're going to see a bunch of pitching go off, and some of those other position players, your Devers and your Semien will go in there, and then they'll circle back and start grabbing a couple of outfielders. So like if you do it by tiers, it would be Acuna through Tatis and then Soto through Alvarez. So there's a smaller 3-tier there. And then we have a bunch of other tiers that happen after that. So that's your top 10. Michael Harris, Adolis Garcia, Randy Rosarena, Nolan Jones, Cody Bellinger through 15, followed by Mike Trout, Jazz Chisholm, Josh Lowe, Christian Yelich, and then Kyle Schwarber as the 20th overall outfielder. So now let's get a little bit into here. Let's dig in a little bit as to who I'm looking at. Reaching a little bit for who I'm looking at, probably passing on. I'll give you a little reasoning. Outfielder is really tough with. There's so many of them, so it's like I don't know. I don't want to spend 2 hours on a Sunday night doing this, but if I gotta, I will. So we'll start digging in. And I know you guys have heard multiple. I'm sure you listen to multiple podcasts, and I don't want to bore you, but let's dig in here. I got to get this off the screen. So let me move this here. So looking at outfielders to reach for, and bear with me here. If you're on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, you see the graphics, and you're going to get to some of the names, and you're going to question them, but I'll give you a little bit of insight and a reasoning, just like I have in the other episodes. First off would be Nolan Jones, going currently the 14th outfielder with about pick 52 average draft position. I have him as my 9th ranked outfielder, and I know we got a small sample size, but we saw him take a huge leap moving from Cleveland to Colorado, and well, he's still in Colorado, so he'll still have half of his games there, which is a huge benefit to him. Have that monster outfield. Last year, he played 106 games and brought back 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. So a 2020 guy, and just under a 300 batting average with a 389 OBP. Very, very solid numbers for the young man. Realistically, he should have no issues. I don't know about the stolen base side of it, but I'm confident, 30 home runs is not out of the question if he has a full slate of games, and he should. They got him batting. Roster Resource has him so far listed as the three batting in the third position, so in the 3-hole. So that's a perfect spot. Rack up some RBIs. That's where the stolen base is. I can't confidently say he's going to be a 30-30 guy or a 35-30 guy. Just, batting third, you'll have potentially runners in front of you. Let's see who's batting. Let's see who they got listed as cleanup there. I don't even know offhand. Chris Bryant. So maybe they just keep him. I don't know. Maybe they move him over if he's the only one on to see if Chris Bryant can knock him around. That is if Chris Bryant can stay on the field himself. So interesting lineup, interesting team. I think Nolan Jones has a bright future ahead of him. I've had many offers in dynasty leagues for him that I will not move on him, and I have not seen an offer yet that has even had me research further. So they've all been instant no's. So I think it's going to take a lot for me to get off of Jones, and hopefully he could be a top 10 outfielder. He has all the tools there, especially the ballpark. So love to see that. So Nolan Jones is a guy that at 52 now, I'll take him ahead of maybe a Adolis Garcia. I'd give it a shot. So about pick 40 if you wanted him bad enough. I think that's actually where you might have to take him in some leagues. In a 5 outfielder league, I want him there ahead of 52, pick 52 to make sure that I have him because I really like him. In a 12-team league, yeah, I think similar, if it's a smaller outfield requirements that you can you'll have to still take him a little bit ahead of where he is at with all the buzz he's getting. So Nolan Jones, I would take, around, like I said, the pick, 40, 41, 42 area. If that's where your numbers end up, I think you're safe to grab him there if he's around. Next up, we're going to talk about George Springer. So this one, he was all the buzz. Justin Mason notably would drink his bathwater. Back 2016, 17, 18. 18, he kind of had a down year. 19, he bounced back. 19, he almost hit 40 home runs. He had 39 home runs. So it's all there. COVID year. And then 2021, he ran into some injury issues. Only played 78 games. Last year, in 2022, 133 games. But last year, he was back up to 154 games. We do see power lagging a little bit behind. So only 21 home runs last year, but he did get that 20 stolen base mark. And I think he can achieve that again. If you're looking at the numbers, power came down a little bit, but that's okay. From 25 to 21, I think he's still right around there, right? I think he can give you 25 solid home runs. And we saw the speed come back up. So I feel that he's 33 last year. So this would be age 34. I still think he's good for another 20 stolen bases this year. Decent batting average. Career 354 OBP, so that's not terrible. And let's see here where Roster Resource has him slated in at batting leadoff. So stolen base opportunities will be there for him. Lineup behind him, just a bunch of big mashers. So who do they got behind him is Toronto Blue Jays, who just signed Dan Vogelbach on top of it. So you got Springer followed by Bichette, then Vlad, Turner. You're going to dump in some Vogelbach. You got the Jansen Kirk connection. So a bunch of mashers there. So you can bet that they're going to want George Springer on second base as much as they can get him there. So I think, like I say, his stolen bases, I feel he could probably still get you 20 bags this year, even at 34 years old. And again, I wouldn't doubt if he was around that 22 to 25 home run mark either. So I just think he's a value there. He's currently outfielder number 28. I would take him right around that, 100, about that 100 point, 114, maybe, so around a solid round ahead of where he's going now. He's going at 114. So if you're playing 12 or 15, you'll have to do the math, but right around pick 100. I'm considering there George Springer. Did trade for him personally in a dynasty league this year, actually, in a contract league. So wanted him on my team. I just don't. I think there's more for him to offer, and especially batting leadoff. That just gives you more of those plate appearances that you need. So, like take him ahead of Nick Castellanos. So Castellanos, maybe a little better batting average, but he's going to get half as many stolen bases, probably give you a couple more RBI, but same amount of home runs and less runs. So like, I just think you take him with the chance of, 20 or more stolen bases and 20 home runs. So where Castellanos is only going to give you the 20 home runs. So that's kind of where I'd take him, right around 100, as opposed to where he's currently going 114. Now, Cedric Mullins. He was a disappointment, wasn't he? Let me look at him here quick. That last couple of years, 2021, he had that 30 home run, 30 stolen base season. And I acquired him and have been sorely mistaken by that all this time. So why do I have him on here then is the question. Currently he's going around pick 138 as the 33rd outfielder. Listen, it's just, that lineup's going to be so good. It's going to give other people the opportunities, and I'm hoping Cedric Mullins is one of them. That's kind of my reach on this. They have a roster resource has him at 6, which is not great, but that could keep, that could pump up his RBI a little bit. And potentially, if the lineup turns over in front of him, allow him to steal some bases there. So, I just think he needs to stay healthy. And I don't know what happened in 2022, but here's the thing. In 2022, he had a terrible year. And again, I was a victim of that, all that love from 2021. But so in 40 less games in 2023, he put up similar power stats, I should say. And then he did have, it was 15 less stolen bases, but the power is coming back. So I believe, and the batting average went down. So if he could fix his batting average, it gets him on base more, which gets him more stolen base opportunities, and also would increase, obviously, the more you hit the ball, the more chances you have in put one over the fence. So that is my expert analysis there, but I think you're going to see him bounce back. I think he'll be in the 20s, 20. What do I have him at here? I have him at Cedric. I have him at 18 home runs. So 72 runs, 18 home runs, 70 RBI, and 26 stolen bases. Stolen bases on a full season, I think that's 100% accurate. So I think this is pretty fair. 20-25 type guy. And then he's going 33rd right now at 138 ADP. My projections would put him as the 20, potentially the 22nd overall, which is again that Nick Castellanos. So maybe you're going to take George Springer, and then the next round you could take Cedric Mullins. How's that sound? That would be pick 115. You could probably let him fall around 115, 120, 125. Even at 125, you're taking him just one round early. But he's a guy that I'm hoping on to bounce back. In something like the TGFBI, Jackson Chourio is going right in front of him at 32. If you like to gamble, you take the Chourio. Wyatt Langford's going right behind him. That's another one that, that's just as much risk either way. So we haven't seen either of those guys in the big leagues. We know that Cedric Mullins had it somewhere in his pocket. So I will always lean more often than not, I would lean Mullins over Chourio or Langford. I just like to have my know where my floor is rather than hoping for that diamond in the rough. So last but not least, Tyler O'Neill. I was also going to talk about Starling Marte. I'm sorry, and so we'll talk about them both. I guess Tyler O'Neill is the guy I have highlighted, so we'll talk about him first. Another guy that just injuries. One thing that could help Tyler O'Neill this year is the fact that he plays left field for the Boston Red Sox. He also could DH. They have Masataka Yoshida, also who he played left field last year. So between the two of them, they could do some, I guess, DH platooning. One thing that throws that off a little bit, though, is Bobby Dahlbeck's also there, who I know they'll probably DH him enough as well. But if we can keep Tyler O'Neill on the field, or I guess off the field and in the batter's box, I do believe he easily has 25 home run potential. I have him ranked as 35. Projection wise, 72 runs, 23 home runs, 66 RBI, 15 stolen bases. I scoff at that a little bit. Again, he's batting out of the 6th hole, according to Roster Resource. If he's injury prone, maybe Boston pulls the reins back a little bit on his running. But going as late as he is at pick 224 overall, the 53rd outfielder, if you could nab 25 home runs there, which he could very easily, as I said, if he stayed healthy. Like the way my projections work, it's taking, it's looking at his last couple seasons where he wasn't healthy all season. So, I mean, that's the way it has to be because those are true numbers and that's what actually happened. And I can't I know Tyler O'Neill will not play 162 games healthy. Even if he's healthy through the season, they're going to manage it, as I just stated, with Yoshida and Dahlback being able to swap in and out at that DH. There will be days off for Tyler O'Neill, but I have a firm belief that if they're able to manage him, keep him on the field, that 25 home runs is not out of the question. It's very easy and a very nice pull that late in the game. And his batting average won't kill you if you're in the batting average league. So that's another huge benefit for Tyler. Similar situation in New York, the Mets with Starling Marte. Just a guy that I'm going to pull him up. I didn't have him pulled up. So just another guy that was not healthy. Here's reports, he thinks he could play 170 games this year. So best shape of my life type guy right now, which is great. He'll be 35 this year. The problem is we haven't seen a full slate of games from him. I'll say 2018, he had 145 games. That's the last time he was close to a full season. So I have him highlighted. When he's in the game and playing, he has like top 20 outfield tools. So that's why I have him highlighted. I just don't know if he'll be healthy enough. I'm going to take Tyler O'Neill before Starling Marte, but it's another guy at that later round in that 200s in your 5 outfielder league that now you could start taking deeper risks like that. And if he's able to give you 125 games, he's going to get you 15 easy home runs and 20 easy stolen bases. So it's just a hope and a prayer at that point. It's deep enough that you can take those chances, and if it doesn't work out, you're not out anything. So not a big risk there with Starling Marte. So those are the ones I would reach a little bit for. Let me see if there's anybody else here that jumps off my page. Chisholm, another guy who's been injured. I would take him. He's another he's at 62 right now. If you took him at mid 50s, you're all right. So that's only 7. So maybe it's not as big, but I'm going to take him ahead of one of the guys we'll talk about in a little bit. Josh Lowe, another one who I would take probably ahead of Chisholm, and he's going behind him. So Lowe is going at 71. So if you want to take Josh Lowe in the low 50s, I would support that. Just a guy that 18 home runs, 20, 25 stolen base type guy. It's perfect. That's awesome. Anybody else? I'm just going to scroll through here quick. Springer, we talked about. Evan Carter. I tread lightly on that, but if you got him at pick 122, he has all the tools to be a top 10 outfielder, or at least what he's showing us so far. I guess I shouldn't say that. What he's showing us so far, he could place in the top 10, and that was a pretty luscious end of the season. So I'm hesitant on that. I will adjust his numbers will be adjusted as I get deeper into this, but when everybody's the same, based on what I saw so far, he could have the tools. So I have him highlighted here just because of his huge jump, but I think I'm not gonna. I won't have any Evan Carter this year. Let's see. Let's just keep looking. TJ Friedel, he's the guy that you could take up a little bit, but that's going to be monitoring that outfield. He might not have the playing time. And let's see here. James Outman, another guy that showed us so much promise. But again, another outfield that you need to monitor. Christopher Morel is listed as outfielder on NFBC. He'll be playing third, so that could be a sneaky get him late. He's going at pick 202, which will probably creep up since he's been in the news a little bit. But if you wanted to take him, 3 rounds up, I think he's going to get the playing time this year. So if he can just get some more bats on the ball, he's a guy that he could really pay off some dividends this year. So that's a good handful. I think we'll switch over now to kind of some of my avoids here. Slide over. So if you're watching on YouTube, the slides just are posted there. You could follow along. Otherwise, we'll just keep rocking and rolling here. So Mike Trout, I know a lot of people are talking about it, and I just want to hit home again. We have saw what we've seen with Mike Trout is just he's fallen off a cliff as far as speed goes. We're not going to see, that 2012 30-49 season anymore. We saw 40 home runs in 2022. He had 119 games in 2022. Last year, he had 82 games and only provided us with 18 home runs. He was a big disappointment last year. He's been a disappointment for the last few years, mainly with injuries and just nagging stuff. The changes in changes in Los Angeles there with the team, I'm going to avoid it. Opportunities for the RBI are going to be down, for the runs are going to be down. He's not running. Last 4 years, 2020 shortened season, but 1 stolen base, 2 stolen bases in 21, 1 in 22, 2 last year. He's not going to get more than 2 stolen bases. Unless he really wants to, but I'm just not going to put my stock in that. Currently going as the 16th outfielder at pick 56. I'm going to let him drop. I'll let him drop to 100. I can't do it. That's too much risk for me. So I'm out on Trout. And I'm also apparently a very good rhymer. Kyle Schwarber is my next one. Traded for him in a contract league. Not gonna lie. Just gonna get drunk on his 40 home runs that he's probably gonna hit. But he's gonna kill my batting average in that league, and it is what it is. I need the home runs. I made the move. I got the home runs, right? So last year 197 batting average. I have him. So currently he's going as a 20th outfielder at pick 77. So at pick 77, let's just say this though. This is where it's hard. I won't take Trout because I can't handle him not being on the field. Schwarber played the last 2 seasons in full. So 155, 160. Beautiful. He's going pick 77. My projection would have him just way down at 52. Again, these numbers will be adjusted as I go through a little more. This is based off. This is a formula. For me, I like to have. It's a formula that would measure all of the categories in which you're playing with, and he's going to sink you in batting average, and he's going to, sink you in stolen bases. Another guy, 10 stolen bases in 2022. That's an anomaly. And last year he proved it because he had 0. He kills 2 full categories. Now, the other categories that he helps you in tremendously. And power is great especially if you're doing roto. A home run gives you a tick mark in 3 categories. Well, 4 really, because your batting average would be 1 for 1. But home runs are they're the category that you should never punt, right? You should never go fully away. So back to Schwarber's 77 ADP, he is going to pair very well with, if you drafted pitcher heavy, and you're going to punt batting average, that's Kyle Schwarber all day. Like maybe you're going to reach for him at 77. But if you're looking at other guys, you took a Josh Lowell, you took, you started with your middle infield positions, or you're just ending up with people that don't have the power, and you need now you could pair Kyle Schwarber with that. Now don't get cute and say I'm gonna get a was it Luis Arias now, so you can give me a 350. Don't get that cute, and try and take him later. But Kyle Schwarber is a power only need. If you have a team that needs the power, that's your guy. But remember, he is going to nerf. He's going to kill your batting average, and not give you any stolen bases. So I'm out on Schwarber in your redraft. I don't build that way. So that's my only caveat, is if you do, or if you need to, because of the way the draft is going, say you just couldn't pass up on the pitching. If you took Schwarber there, punt the rest of your batting average, because that's how it's going to look. All right. So next up, I have Jarren Duran. I'm hoping I'm wrong with him. I just don't know that the power the power is going to be there. Now, he is going to bat lead off. So I think my projections might have skewed him a little wrong. My projections, he's currently going at 41. He's not going to have any power. He's going to have more runs than my projections I've given him. And I don't know. I don't know about the RBI. I think the RBI will still remain low, but I have him at 27 stolen bases. I think that might be a little high as well, but I could be wrong. Now that we're into this, I think at 41 overall, I think it's just still a touch high. My projections have him at 60, but he's getting a lot of buzz right now, and I fear that he's going to get pushed up in the mid 30s, and then you're going to only get that return back. Now, much like Kyle Schwarber, if you've neglected stolen bases through your draft, similar circumstances could be that you took pitching and you got a Kyle Schwarber and you need stolen bases. This is probably where you can get them. So if you're drafting for stolen bases only, that 40s to 45 for Duran is fine. If you don't need stolen bases at this point, which I'm hoping you don't, just let him slide. You should be able to find some other value there. Maybe that's where you take James Outman. Because Altman's still going to potentially give you 10 plus stolen bases. So with this power potential, maybe that's where, but that's for you to decide. I'm not gonna tell you who to draft, but I am going to tell you not to draft Dalton Varsho. Another another guy that this year will lose his catcher eligibility, has really kept his ADP high. I just want to believe that he's still riding on that hope and potential, maybe that he's going to have um, that catcher eligibility. We saw him go from 27 home runs in 2022. He dropped down to 20 home runs now in 2023, and still gave us that 16 stolen bases. So it's not terrible. The 2015, but his batting average just keeps going down and down and down and down and down. And his OBP following suit, and his slugging following suit, and his OPS following. So Dalton Varsho is not getting better year after year, and does not provide you with catching anymore. I'm out on Dalton Varsho 100%. I will not have him on a team. He's currently going at 208. My projections would have him at 64th outfielder overall. So Marte, O'Neill, all going higher. Kerry Carpenter, Lourdes Gurriel, all going higher. So, and another one that actually I'm going to pull him up right now. That's just in the news right just the other day, and actually I forgot to put that on the ticker. Jung Ho, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jung Ho Lee of the. Now he's now on the Giants, and it sounds like the Giants are going to bat him leadoff. So I think you're going to see he's currently at 247. I think you're going to see him creep up as well. That could be a great points league ad for sure, and somebody that I'm really interested in. And I'll probably have him over Dalton Varsho. So I don't have a projection for him, but someday I will. So that's kind of that. Other guys that I'm kind of pass on here. Let's see. I'll go through a little bit and see who's really jumping out here. Jordan Walker, he had such a rough year last year. I actually think that that'll get adjusted for me. Just going to say it now because it's on here and it's the way it is. I have him at 41. He's going as a 23rd overall around pick 100. I'd probably keep him at pick 100 and hope that he can return what he was supposed to last year. He shorted me last year, so I'd probably go back to the well one more time. I have Lane Thomas falling behind his current position. Spencer Steer. These are just slight drops. Anthony Santander. Yeah, another guy. I have him falling quite a ways. 12 outfielders further. That's almost 40 picks ADP wise. So Santander, what do I got him? I have him projected at 73 runs, 27 home runs, 82 RBI, but only 3 stolen bases. So, and a 249 batting average. Maybe that's a bit harsh at 43 as well, but I would try Cedric Mullins over him unless I needed 27 for sure home runs. Others, Riley Green also, I have him, and I think it's just that injury really pushes his projections down, so I'll have to modify that. I might actually take him. I'll definitely take him at 39th overall outfielder, around 164. That's a guy I'd be willing to take a shot at. So, and not really seeing anybody else that's of super. Jared Kelenic, another one that's, if Atlanta could fix him, he's somebody I won't draft and hope he's on a waiver wire if he gets hot, but I'm just kind of out on Kelenic too. So that's going to wrap this up for now. Outfielder's so deep though, and I shouldn't say it's deep. There's so many outfielders But you kind of want to make sure if you got a 5 outfielder league that you got 3 really, higher end outfielders, because after pick 50, we're starting to really get some scrappy names. Look at your MJ Melendez is another catcher that was a catcher last year who I fell for and drafted in TGFBI, and gosh, that's who you're going to end up with as your 5th outfielder type of stuff. So, and even beyond, because in a TGFBI format, 5 outfielders, there's so many of these guys that are going to be on a team that, they're just, it's not looking good, below 50. So get a couple good ones right away so that you got them locked in. That's my advice. So I'm going to wrap this up. We went 51 minutes here. I appreciate everybody who took the time to listen or watched on YouTube. I'm going to keep getting out what I can when I can. Really starting to crank up. We have baseball practices for my youth kids all the time here. Our baseball season's around the corner, so I'll be getting busy with that. And of course, I actually have to work too, so that's terrible. But maybe someday I won't have to. But for now, I'll just keep on giving you what I can when I can. I'd like to throw something together for pitching yet. Just don't really have time to work on any of my projections for that. Maybe I can bust it out a couple nights here, but I don't want to shortchange it either. So I'll just keep working on that as I can. But I'll get you something for pitching yet. And I don't know. I might try to see if I can get Jamie and Eli on or someone else on to talk or do a mock or something. Let me know what you want to hear. You can, reach out on X, or you can put it in the Discord. You can email me at spittingseedsbb@gmail.com. Reach out on X, like I said, at spittingseedsbb, or contact Jamie and Eli at Outer Rhythm Fant. Otherwise, find us in the Discords. You know where I am. Donovan, Spitting Seeds, Curly Z28 is my handle for all of my fantasy leagues. So you'll find me. I'm out there everywhere. So I really appreciate you listening. Give me any feedback you got. Like, subscribe, all that fun jazz. We'd really appreciate that, as well, as we're trying to grow our listeners and keep this thing moving forward. So I appreciate everybody. Have a great time. Pitchers and catchers are there. Let's keep them. Let's hope everybody stays healthy and there's nothing major this week or the next couple weeks leading into the season. And baseball's right around the corner, everybody. Let's get ready. Drafts are firing up. Let's get going and let's win our leagues. Let me know if you need help with that. For that, I'm Donovan, and this has been Outer Rhythm Fantasy Sports Spitting Seeds Edition. Thank you.